Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Here we are at the Psychic Tarot Show with Ashala on Beyond Mystic. You can check out the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel right here. There we go. And I'm doing these forecasts every week on Saturdays live. You can show up, share in looking at what's ahead for us all in this upcoming week. So for this week, it is from the 27th of July to the 3rd of August. If you would like to book a session with me, you can find me here at the Beyond Mystic Academy. Let's just have a look here for a sec. There we go. And you can use the coupon code below to get 10% off booking a session with me. I am still taking bookings in the next 2 or 3 weeks. There's still a couple of spaces. So if you want to get in with me before the next rush starts, jump on to the link below and access this coupon code to receive 10% off. All right, let us jump in to this week's update. I'm going to see if I can make it so that we look and see the cards bigger. There we go. Yay. Hello, Lori. Hi, The Seeker, Rob, Kiss Me Fool, Corinne. Thank you for joining me here today. Let's all tune in, and I want to say gather our intentions to see what's going to be the most valuable insights going forward. So I just am continuing to feel that it's important to have an internal process of healing and transformation and ongoing up-leveling and upgrading, as well as staying balanced with what's going on the world stage. So much activity. So trying to find ourselves in all of this, it can be very confusing. Let's see what our guides want us to look at this week and how we can support ourselves and each other with that process. So we're starting off in the house of the self, and we've got a beautiful card to start us off this week, everybody. 10 of Cups. Happily ever after. Now, the good part of this is that, of course, there is a sense of optimism, of buoyancy, of hopefulness. There's a little bit of a shadow with this card, which is that we could be maybe a little dissociative in terms of pie in the sky thinking. So I'm going to look and see what the rest of the wheel reveals before I make a decision one way or the other about which way that card's going. Okay, in the house of finance. Oh, gosh. Finance and money and security material stuff. The house of Taurus, King of Pentacles. For those of you that know the tarot, this is the most masterful, I want to say master of money and material things. That King of Pentacles. Oh, we got a little bit of out of focus going on. King of Pentacles is a fantastic, strong, purposeful card to have in that house. And it often means that we are going to be receiving good insight from people who know what's going on with the financial system. Later on today, I'm going to be sharing a link about this upcoming. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to put it up here right now because it's really relevant. Let's look here at Currency and Consciousness, Heal Your Money Mindset with LEVY. So I'm going to put this up so that you can have a quick look. I think it's an ideal thing to be focusing on right now. You can see the link to access this. When is it happening? It is join LEVY this Sunday, July 29th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on her next activation, Currency and Consciousness, Heal your money mindset and embrace the new era of financial exchange available on the Beyond Mystic Academy. So, this is right in alignment with what we want to be focusing on this week because it feels like there are people in our community, people that we have access to that can support us. You know, as these old systems crumble, as the old is fading into obscurity, we already have been, those of you that are on this path, truth warriors, we've already been preparing the ground, the new terrain for new currency systems. So while other people are floundering and feeling the beginning of, uh-oh, what's going on and things going awry, we're already, I want to say, prepared, or at least we know where the tools are, how to access them. And many of us have already taken steps to develop a financial transition. And this is going to serve us super well this week. Hi, Colette. Hi, Angela. Gold Pure. Yay. So let's keep going and see what the next thing is. Okay, Gemini. House of Gemini. This is around communication, ideas, sharing information, talking about stuff. Well, there's a lot in the news. I can't help but feel like this is probably MSM, I just can't even believe it when I go to I do have this MSM mainstream media feed that I look at periodically every couple of days just to see what's being put down those channels. I can't even believe how doom and gloom it is. Like, I mean, it's been getting just more and more ridiculous for the last 3 or 4 years. It's just like, oh my gosh. So there is that color on things. There's that lens, that angle on things. And it is designed to get us worked up into a fear frenzy. Most of us have already long ago transitioned away from those narratives. Nevertheless, we feel the anxiety in the collective. We feel people, still biting those hooks, right? So, what I feel could be really valuable for us this week is to take that information and say, this card, I call it open heart surgery. It means the negative stuff, the swords that are piercing this heart, it's already happened. It's from the past. It's old news in a way. But the sting is still there. And so it's time to very gently, delicately remove these swords of that old narrative. How do we do that? We acknowledge that even though we no longer buy into a lot of those stories, narratives, there's still a sting. It's just still hard to see them being plastered everywhere, The whole propaganda war still fiercely being fought out there. It still hurts, right? It still stings. And I think that's because we are still feeling a bit wounded by how much of that we've struggled with. So it's never a bad idea to go back in and look at, yeah, the I want to say the resentments, the lingering resentments of, wow, I can't believe how long I was duped. I can't believe how long I bought into these mainstream narratives. I can't believe what would life have looked like if we hadn't been led down those garden paths. And I think we're all just feeling maybe a bit tender around that. So on the one hand, we've got this strong financial guide that's going to help us go in new directions. And we've already been on that path, most of you watching. On the other hand, there's still some sting in how much is still going flying around out there. Like, wow, it still hurts, right? So let's see in the House of Cancer, which is really like where we find our family, our roots. How do we ground? How do we ground this? Because Gemini is the mind. It's all like thinking, thinking, thinking. We notice stuff Oh gosh, I see still massive propaganda war going on. Oh, that hurts. Um, our thoughts can be painful, right? So the swords are thoughts, and our mind can actually do a number on us. It can hurt our heart because we take it really personally, right? So if we can see that, yeah, so many agendas, yes. If we can see that there has been some point down the road, we're going to witness that it was important for us to, I don't want to say be taken for granted or be led astray, but there was something in this that was necessary for us to grow. Hello, Crystal. Hi, Rational Mind Riot. Lovely, love that name. Peggy, Wolf Mother. Hi. Okay. All right. Now, I just did a reading for someone, and the question was about, what do I focus on? What do I focus on to take my mind off this? So we saw that painful distraction of there's still so much going on out in the propaganda world. What do we focus on? This is so great. We've got 10 pentacles. So tens are about fulfillment, the completion of something. Pentacles are money and resources. It's a lot about, your legacy. It's a lot about your, in the house of Cancer, family. This can be about a family and extended family. And this could be a really great week to have some sort of meaningful connection with family. Maybe even planning, instead of focusing on this, what's going on in the world and how these narratives are still hijacking a lot of people's consciousness and processes, we can be looking at maybe planning something to connect in a very meaningful way with our extended family. I've heard so many stories over these last maybe 3 or 4 months of people who've had broken families because of different political viewpoints in the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm talking about. And where they've kind of come to a point where they're reconnecting over the things that really matter. It's not really about letting bygones be bygones, because these topics are too big to completely sweep under the carpet. But it is about, the jury's kind of out in a way, and people are going, let's work on what we know is shared common ground. So, what is it like for you? Are there some family members that you do feel like there's enough common ground that you could maybe plan something where you're going to spend some time together in the next 10 weeks? Um, This also looks like family reunions. It can also be working together on family legacy projects. So if this is family companies or corporations, it could be putting money into family legacies, putting money into family companies, redesigning with the idea of what's our closest, I want to say, community in terms of, this card also represents extended family and community. It can be our community that we've chosen with like-minded friends. It can also be, as I said, family members where there's enough common ground that you can work on something together. So this is planning a get-together, planning a family reunion. Maybe it's working on a family book, heirloom book, a scrapbook of ancestor stories or something like that, a genealogy book, something where we are coming back into the fold with the idea of family and legacy. So that will help us. And it's very interesting how we have that very solid King of Pentacles in the House of Finance. And then we have this, what is also a very beautiful money card in the House of Family. This could also be working the system, looking for I want to say pensions, subsidies, things that you are eligible for because of family connection, perhaps. So that's another way of looking at that. Okay, another 10 right beside it in the house of Leo, incoming. So Wheel of Fortune, it's got those two magical words in it, right? Wheel. A wheel goes round and round. So the idea is that things come and go, right? They spin off the wheel, they spin onto the wheel. There is a feeling of radical change, but also what comes around goes around, full circle cycles. It's 2 10s. In fact, we've got 3 10s so far in this spread. You see that first one over here, the 10 of Cups. And then we've got 10 of Pentacles down here. And now we've got number 10, 10 on the major arcana, the Wheel of Fortune. 3 of a kind is a blessing. 10s are about completion and the gathering together of something, like getting ready to start a new phase. So finishing up the old phase. Very cool. Oh my gosh, another 10. Okay, we got now the 10 of Wands in the house of Virgo. Details, habits, lifestyle stuff. I've talked to a lot of people in the last 10 days that are like, I'm back on, like people are struggling with habits, bad habits around indulging in certain things, bad eating habits, maybe even some addiction stuff, addiction patterns and stuff like that. And it just feels like, we're up here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're in the height of summer now. We're coming into, closing in on the Lionsgate portal. We'll talk about that more next week, right? So there's a real feeling of things are at their height, and also everything to do with overindulging. It's kind of like Christmas time in a way. There's this sense of we've kind of pushed things to the extreme. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's been really bright, right? There's a lot of extreme in having daylight till like 10:30 at night. It's starting to ease off now, but we definitely in the last couple of weeks hit that crescendo of kind of burning the candle at both ends. And then there's also just literally the dynamic of, the extremes with the weather. Extremely cold flipping to heat dome, and now extreme wildfires. And so that extreme energy, burnout. It's ironic the card is called burnout in the house of Virgo. So we're tired. We've pushed ourselves to the limit. This is the fourth 10 in this little spread. Are you getting the feeling that we're coming to the end of something? This is really the final chapter of the movie, the narratives, the story. How soon? 10 weeks, let's just say 10 weeks to be on the safe side, but we're tired. We're tired and we're a little sore in the heart around just carrying these stories and these truths for all these years. And it's getting a little bit tiresome. Let me move this around so you can see it better. There we go. Okay, let's go to the next card in the house of relationship. Libra is about, it's among other things, it is our ability to come into balance, equality, sharing, giving and receiving. Libra is the scales of justice. So it is about shared power, sharing roles, sharing responsibility. It's about relationships, our agreements in relationships. We've got the mother there. We've got the mother. This is our own relationship to our mothers. It's the way we mother ourselves, the way we nurture ourselves. So there's a lot of exhaustion here in the house of Virgo, which is health, habits, right? Lifestyle. And it's also about, like how we're stabilizing our energy. So there's something this week about coming into the divine feminine, coming back to self-care, self-love, nurturing, mothering, looking in our relationships to connect with people that help us feel safe, loved. For some people, that is your actual mother. So this is a very a beautiful week to, I want to say, receive that comfort and nurturing of that mothering type of energy. And then, of course, this card also relates to Mother Earth. So this is the frequency of connecting to nature in that way that you get comforted, nurtured, the feeling of safety, like I belong and everything's going to be okay. Wow, all that 10 energy, completions, and then this beautiful nurturing quality. Okay, now we go to Scorpio. Dun, dun, dun. Wow, okay. 9 of Pentacles is sovereign. It's the sovereign self. It is also a really great thing to have across from that King of Pentacles. Golly, we are stepping into a kind of financial sovereignty. Oh, it looks like my camera didn't like it that I held that up. It's now having a hard time refocusing. Apologies about that. Let me see if I can move this and it will decide what it's doing. That's so interesting. Then when we got to sovereignty, the camera had a hard time adjusting. I'm going to move it around a bit and see if that might be a little better. Okay, so sovereignty, this is financially, materially. We are stepping into financial sovereignty. This is a frequency inside to begin with, because sovereignty itself, if you know about the word, it really means that we are our own, I want to say, master. We are master of our own destiny. We gather and synthesize and make choices that are not enforced under pressure from the outside world. It's really about taking stock and designing your own, I want to say, value. So there's something here about also us looking at our own value. I believe, and this is something I'm going to be developing a program to teach in the upcoming weeks and months. I believe that we're going to move into actually trading the value of who we are in terms of our experience, the skills that we have, the resources that we have to share and distribute with others, and also our connections, our reputation, our contacts, the people that we have in our networks. Those are going to be things of value that we can trade, and there's going to be a lot more value placed in those real commodities, if you want to call them that have to do with the individual. So more about that in the upcoming weeks. For now, we're looking at getting stable in transitional currencies, but really working on this frequency of I have value. Maybe I don't have a lot of money in the bank or a lot of real estate or worldly commodities at the moment, but I have life experience, I have skills, I have my reputation, I have contacts and connections, and all of those things have value. Okay, let's keep going here. We've got in the house of Sag, which is adventure. Hi there. adventure, travel, exploration, really, I want to say expanding beyond what's right in front of us, looking out into the future. Look at this. We have the Page of Swords across from that Three of Swords. Okay, so this is interesting because this feels like a lot to do with sorting out information, and not all information is equal. So it feels like it's time to prioritize how much attention you give different types of information. There's like information that has to do with gathering intel, there's information that has to do with observing what the mainstream media is pushing, there's information that has to do with, learning new skills, new trades, new ways of designing the future. There's a lot of different, I want to say, focuses where we can explore, because we live in an information age. Almost anything we want to learn or explore is at our fingertips. So what are we going to do with that ability? How are we going to prioritize, sort out what we want to focus on? Sagittarius says, let's focus on things that expand into a greater potential for the future. Let's stop focusing on narratives and any information that's just about restriction, restriction, restriction. Let's look at, information that helps us see our way through the labyrinth and guides us in that way. So I really feel like there's going to be some great discernment this week around prioritizing what information you take in the most and allow yourself to be directed by that. Okay, and up at the top here, love it. We have this beautiful Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is looking over at that Page of Swords. So there's something about prioritizing information that helps our heart open, not close. Does this mean that we just, now this takes us back to this. Remember I said at the beginning, it's quite like, rose-colored glasses. It's really seeing the best case scenario. Is that something that is just us bypassing, or is this what we need to do this week? Well, because we have this Three of Swords here, the pain of all the tragic, hard information that we've integrated over the past, especially 3 years, I do feel like it's a good week to maybe take a break from some of that and focus on information that is opening the heart, expansion, and this frequency of hopefulness. So it really is more about balancing out a lot of this than it is about bypassing. We are at the end of a cycle. So we can focus on all the ending. We can look down and just keep seeing everything coming apart at the seams and a lot of destruction and devastation, or we can look up and see already the bridges, especially in the realms of generosity of spirit, open-heartedness, upgrades in the frequency of our hearts. This feels like a great way to lead your inquiry this week. Okay, now in the house of Aquarius, which is very much also futuristic. And where are we headed? It's our friends, our community, our networks, our associates, our reputation. People are excited. People, Eight of Wands, there's a lot of dynamic energy. Look at that, the Wheel of Fortune. People feel the shift is happening. It's gaining momentum. We're getting excited. We're getting excited. We probably want to start heading, now that we feel the floodgates opening, we probably want to start heading in a new direction. Yeah, thank you. PJ, I've learned a lot watching Ashala's videos because a lot of this was new for me, but I learned quickly. Aw, thanks, Ricky. Ricky's been with me for years now, and I really appreciate that perspective. I've learned a lot too, Ricky. When I sit here in this position and act as the channel oracle to receive messages, as I've said many times, this is much different than what I could get if I was just asking questions by myself, because I'm tapping in to all the guides that are coming through, all of you watching, those of you that are going to be watching. And as I've said many times, you can say, oh, well, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. I mean, that's like you're tapping into who knows what and what kind of negative entities you're channeling. And I say over and over again, I channel through the bandwidth of the heart. This bandwidth it's a power neutral frequency of love that's aligned with the greater good of all, period. It doesn't mean we only see good things and there's no scary stuff. It just means that we see the energies coming through that frequency that aren't manipulative. They're energies of, I want to say, the pure frequency of potentiality, of love, of expansion. And that frequency is its own insurance against falling into negative. And when I say negative, I don't mean challenging. We can look at challenging stuff. What I mean is manipulative, power dominant stuff. I'm not open to channeling that, period. It's not the frequency that I channel through. So that itself is the insurance against tapping into dark force energy. Okay, we're almost to the end of the wheel. Let's lay down the final card here. Woo-hoo-hoo-wee. I like it. So far, this wheel hasn't had too many major arcana. What's a major arcana, you ask? It is one of the 22 major cards of the tarot out of 78. There's 22 majors. They carry more influence. They often relate to big spiritual work that we're doing. I don't know if you remember, it was probably a couple of years ago back on my channel and doing my weekly forecast. I think I once had like 9 or 10 major arcana in a row in one week. It was like the odds, the ratio was just off the charts that could ever happen. I've been noticing this phenomena lately where we're seeing less in people's overview readings. What is that about, I wonder? Well, when I see a lot of major arcana in a reading, it indicates that this is a very, very dynamic, I want to say, really potent, influential time of spiritual growth. A lot's happening. When we see fewer major arcana, in this case, there's only 1, the World, 2, Wheel of Fortune, 3, the Empress. That's not a lot, right? That's certainly not 9 or 10 out of the wheel. So we see that it's just a little bit of a breather in terms of, we've done a lot of massive, high level, big evolutionary upgrades, haven't we, over the last 3 years? Amazing, absolutely amazing. And so what we're in right now, even though you see all this wild stuff playing out on the outside stage of the world, internally, we're actually at a resting point. We're at a we're at this vantage point. Most of you watching are already through the gateway, and you're leading into new earth and allowing things to upgrade around you. It's like the inner work hasn't all been done, but a huge amount of it has been done. So this is almost the pause to reset, to integrate all those 10s this week. A lot of completion, heart integration. Thank you, Valerie. Oh, and drum roll for the center card is the Ace of Pentacles. This is such a lovely gift card. It's a gift card. Give a gift this week and receive a gift. Maybe you want to purchase a gift card from Beyond Mystic to share with someone. This is a lovely, lovely card to have in the center. It's the reward. It's a tangible reward for your efforts. So somehow there's something coming to you this week that you didn't expect, you weren't banking on. Is it a financial gift? Is it a reward for something that you've earned? It's something that has the effect in the material realm. It may not be necessarily a material thing, but it affects the overall well-being of your material life, and it up-levels it. So as a result of all of what we've seen, we've got a gift. And what do we do with the gifting energy? We pass it on. So it's also an invitation for you to look at, what can you pass on this week as a gift to someone? Is this tithing? I know we joked about this a few weeks ago. Who has enough to tithe? But everyone has something that they can give from their heart. So it's a week to look for opportunities to give a little gift and open your arms to receive something that you weren't expecting in terms of a reward. Okay, I'm just going to come over here, have a quick look at our comments. Yeah, want to see if there's any questions. I'm not seeing any big questions written in. Let's see. Air travel. How does air travel look in the future? Her daughter is flying from Switzerland on Wednesday. Flower Nanny. See if we can put that up there. Yeah, why not? Let's have a look at air travel, because I know that a lot of people have been asking me questions about that. And we do have what could look like the traffic controller up here in the House of Travel. So let's look at that as a question. I think that's a great place to close off the week. Thanks again for joining me here, everybody. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on Rumble, like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. So here, let's have a look. There we go. The Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And as I said before, if you would like to book a session with me, this is what it looks like. Beyond Mystic consultations page. I'm booking sessions, still have some openings within the next 3 weeks. You can take the coupon that's in the banner below and apply that when you go to the link at the Beyond Mystic consultations page. And last thing, of course, I just want to remind you once again to check this out. Currency and Consciousness, Healing Your Relationships with Your Money with May Levy. This is live July 29th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I think that's just so cool that that is there when we see being guided by, people that have skills and mastery in the realm of financial transitions. So let's have a quick look at air travel this week. I know you didn't say, Flower Nanny, where your daughter, flying in from Switzerland. Okay, so let's look at air travel across continents, in and out of the US or North America in this upcoming week. And what do we need to know about that? So here's us. And I've been telling everybody, make sure you get travel insurance these days, folks. It's not about being fear-based. It's about being practical. And that little bit of extra insurance just gives you the peace of mind that helps to, I want to say, create a frequency where you're less likely to attract a lot of chaos. Okay, so really what I get here, Flower Nanny, I guess it is. Flower Nanny is that there could be some delays. We've got Seven of Pentacles. This is a waiting card. This is like things going a little slower than what you'd want. We're also just about coming into Mercury retrograde, which starts at the beginning of next week. So next Sunday, I think, is the beginning of that. Look at this lovely frequency. It looks like your daughter's just really in her heart and in that joy and celebration. So yeah, things could get a little bit, I want to say, disrupted, and ultimately, yeah, I'm not getting anything too majorly concerning. It does look like you might want to do a little bit of just checking in, doing a bit of research, say the night before, just seeing how things are going. I'm not seeing anything really dangerous. I more see interference here. I see just things going slow and delays and stuff like that. Yeah, there's another delay card. It feels important that she just stays in her heart, brings some things to do. Just assume that you might get held up. And when I say that, what I get is, maybe 7-8 hours, something like that. I don't really think it's an overnight delay, but just be prepared is what I'm getting, because I don't see anything majorly concerning or dangerous here, but we are looking at that interference energy, which is probably going to be relatively common for the next little while. And it's part of what we are, navigating. And I like to say, I've been saying to people, if it's in your soul's best interest to travel, your guides will protect you. And it's important to make a agreement with them and say, look, if it's not safe or things are really going to be disrupted, then, give me a red light, obvious red light right at the get-go. Otherwise, make it relatively smooth sailing. And that's what I'm getting. I'm getting more or less a little bit of a yellow light, but not a red light. So there we go. I hope that helps. And I do invite you to bring your questions to these live forecasts. I usually try to get at least 1 or 2 questions in. If you put them in capital letters, it's easier for me to just zip back and have a look and find them and make them questions that are relevant to a lot of people. So it's helpful in that way. I wish you all such a beautiful week ahead. Again, as I said, check out that live with May Levy. I think it's going to be awesome. And have a great week, everybody. I'll see you here